How's it going, guys? Shane here from the GnG Elite DBS team, and today we're just going to kind of take a look at the top 16 of Atlanta. I know we're kind of a week late on this. Sorry, but we had all those deck profiles to get up since we won team battles. We were pretty lucky there. I just barely squeaked out of top 16 because I bubbled. And then our friend Brandon did top 32 with that Broly Kid Buu deck, and I thought y'all would like to see that. So now that we got all those deck profiles out of the way, let's take a look at the top 16 breakdown of Atlanta and where I think the meta is going to shape from here. So we had 6 Broly the Awakened Threat decks. Makes sense. Broly leaders are really nuts. Untapping an attacker is really good. Untapping your leader to draw an extra card is good. Having access to Cold Bloodlust is good. Shugesh, there's so many upsides to that leader. There's no surprise there that he was tied for the most in Top Cut. It just makes sense. We had 6 Vegeta Baby decks, so this is what caught a lot of people by surprise. People weren't expecting Vegeta Baby to have such a big showing, but the deck does fairly well into the lineage decks. It does fairly well into a lot of the fair decks. The only thing that is kind of is it lacks. The baby stuff lacks barrier, but some people are now starting to adapt that already, playing their strategies of Universe 7 to give their cards barrier, so makes sense. We had 2 Hirudegarn Awakened Perfection. These were going to be the Mono Blue Hirudegarn decks with the Demiker package by Andrew Duvall and Jonathan Rodriguez. I think they both made top 8, so that's pretty solid. There was 1 Janemba, which ended up winning the event. It was Dahan. And 1 Frieza the Galactic Emperor, which was that Frieza. I don't even remember what he was playing in there. There was something. I don't know. We'll find out here in a second. So, this was the top 16 of Atlanta. Very top-heavy by Broly and Vegeta Baby. 3/4 of Top Cut was Broly and Vegeta Baby. But that's fine. Like we all know, aggro decks do really well at the beginning of a format. And as the format is solved, you'll see a little bit more decks. I don't think this is going to be like Storm, where you just see a crap ton of Storm. I don't think it's going to be that way. This format's surprisingly nice and not as bad as a lot of people made it out to be. And there is a fair amount of diversity. It does suck that there were so many Vegeta Baby decks in Atlanta. But for as many of them as there were, and the Broly decks, they didn't take up the entire Top Cut, and that's fine. It's fine. So, let's just take a look at card dominance. I really like this stat, which shows us, what cards are seeing a whole lot of play. So, the most played card in Top Cut, then, let's see, 43%, 75% of decks played it, and they usually played 2. That makes sense. And yeah, if you're gonna play a Silver Bullet in Atlanta and you weren't playing an objection deck, then Cronoa made the most sense to you. Card's just really good. People are gonna get greedy. They're gonna try and play Shugesh. Just look at number of decks. How many decks played the card compared to the other ones. 75% on Cronoa. Then you're 43%, 37%. Everyone was playing Cronoa. People were ready. If you went into that tournament relying on Shugesh, you were going to have a bad day. And, a lot of people did. They had bad days because they relied on Shugesh. Successor of Hope's number 2 at 42% dominance. It makes sense. All these Broly decks are going to be playing Successor. And then Sand Strength Baby at number 3 for 37.5%. It's also tied with Progenitor and After Image Technique. After Image Techniques are a really good negate right now. It's one of the things that helps the Vegeta Baby deck beat the Lineage deck. Just being able to streamline After Image Techniques during that turn to lower their attack power. It makes it easier to combo out of. So, makes sense. Now we've got all tied. These 2 tied at 36%. Chain Attack and Baby Vengeance Unleashed. That makes sense. The Baby decks are mainboarding Chain Attack, I think, and sideboarding Zeno, or they might just be sideboarding both for other matchups, which makes sense. Against Janemba and against the Mono Blue Hirudegarn, you're going to want to reset. So, and the Baby is just necessary for the Baby deck. 35%, we got Intensifying Power Trunks, Revenge Death Ball, and Cold Bloodlust. These all make sense. The Testifying Power is just like a crit attacker that helps yourself awaken. It's going to let you play the Trunks cheaper. Revenge Death Ball is really good at clearing attackers that are, you know, in your face. Cold Bloodlust is just good in general. Blank, you know, counter spells are good. 32%, we had Dependable Dynasty and Silence's Bulma. Dependable Dynasty is kind of surprising to see here. So that tells me majority of the Broly decks were probably playing like the Storm type deal with like the new way of playing Storm. And since we don't have Goten, they just go hard on the Will of Iron Apes. So it tells me we probably had a fair amount of the Broly decks playing that engine. Bulma is just a super combo. 30%, the Super Baby 1 Parasitic Menace promo from the Power Booster. And then we have the Big 8 Baby, and then Will of Iron. So pretty much all these cards right here come from 2 decks, besides Cronoa. Cronoa is the only card that doesn't come from the Broly decks or the Vegeta Baby decks. So, I mean, that's to be expected. They took up 3/4 of Top Cut. So it makes sense that card dominance is going to show, you know, a lot of that. But that'll change over time, you know. This format is not as bad as we make it out to be, I promise. Like, there's no Shenron Gogeta here, but that deck's still good. It does, you know, it doesn't struggle that much with the Vegeta Baby deck. Now, the Broly decks you just kind of auto-lose, which feels really bad. But, like, the Vegeta Baby deck's not that bad. The Hirudegarn deck's not that bad. Janemba is not that bad, as long as you can, you know, be patient and, you know, just don't dig through your deck. So, I do think Shenron Gogeta is still going to be in the format. So, let's take a look at the decks. They're not in order, so that's unfortunate. Man, that sucks. That makes me sad. I wonder if I can find the order that they placed. I know Daehan got first with Milnemba. Rios got second. Let's take a look at Rios' deck. So, Rios is playing 4 Progenitor, 4 Master Roshi. That's kind of neat. 3 Dependable Dynasty. 3 Gin Family Justice, so they're going back to the free blocker. That's kind of neat. 4 the Pure-Hearted Son Goku. Ugh, those promos are such a pain. 4 Will of Iron. He was playing 3 Cronoa, 4 Mira. Like, yeah, this makes sense. It's just a Storm deck. It's a Storm deck without Goten, but you don't really need Goten as bad because Broly just draws a ton of cards, and a lot of the decks right now are kind of slow, so this all makes sense. Like, this deck's, like, if you're trying to improve yourself as a player and, you know, get better at the game, I would highly recommend grinding with this deck, because the Storm decks teach you a lot of important skills that translate well to other decks. And, you know, that's something I would highly suggest to anybody trying to get better. Like, what made me go from, you know, I would like to think a little above average to, like, you know, pretty good, was playing a bunch of Storm for a couple months. The skill sets I learned playing that deck transferred really well to other decks, and I don't think I'd be where I am right now had I not played Storm for those few months. So, anyway, anything else spicy here? Let's take a look at that, whatever it was, the Frieza deck. Galactic Mom. So, okay, it just looks like a swap deck. Yeah, it's just a swap deck. And that makes sense. It's basically it's similar to Rios' deck, but playing the Frieza instead. On the backside, choose up to your battle card, switch on to active mode. I mean, that makes sense. You kind of just preserve your attackers. So you can keep attacking, like, next turn and things like that. So that makes sense. Set the apes back up. Well, playing Vegeta's gonna set the apes back up, but, you know, I mean, oh, you just can, like, set Videls and stuff. That makes sense. Anything else spicy here? Just Vegeta Baby, Height of Mastery. What was he playing? Just another Broly deck. Okay. So, I think that's it for all the spicy stuff. Other than that, it's just the Broly and the Vegeta Baby decks. Yeah, that's it. Alright, so, where does meta go from here? I do think you're going to start seeing more of these Hirudegarn decks. I do think you'll still see Shenron Gogeta decks do well. They did pretty well in Las Vegas, so don't count out Shenron Gogeta yet. You know, it does have basically just auto-lose to Broly, but with Broly having bad matchups and Shenron Gogeta doing well against those bad matchups, it makes the deck still playable. Just like any other card game, though, you have to get lucky and hope you dodge your bad matchups, or hope when you play your bad matchups, your opponents stumble and you're able to capitalize on their mistakes. That's an important skill set too that I would highly advise people developing. You need to be able to spot when the game is over and you've lost. Even if you have 10 cards in hand, you need to be able to spot if you've lost. You know, when you go back to them, they're, you know, are they going to kill you? If so, you need to try and find an out during your turn to be able to end the game, and that's an important skill set to learn, and you should learn that skill set. You know, it's not always going to work. You're still probably going to lose the game majority of the time, but you will steal games because people will make a mistake, and you can just steal a game that way. So, you know, Broly's going to stay. Vegeta Baby decks are here to stay. I do think you're going to start seeing more Mono Blue Hirudegarn. You'll start seeing Shenron Gogeta popping back up. Janemba, you're going to see more Janemba. The deck's still really good. The Galactic Mom thing, if that specific player plays it, because I know he plays a lot of it, you'll probably see it, but if he's not there, you probably won't. I'm not going to say his name because I know I'm going to butcher it. But tomorrow we'll take a look at Las Vegas and see how Las Vegas compares to this. So that's it for me, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay elite.